Hello, our precious people. My name is Fran, and I am one of the co-hosts for this podcast. Welcome to Rambling Through Everyday Life with Fran and Angela. I need you to know that there is a portion in this conversation where we are, no joke, crying real live tears of laughter over how ridiculous we are. But you know what? I don't think we're alone in this. So let us know. We need to know all the tricks of the trade that you may have so that you can see things better that don't involve readers. Y'all, this is hysterical. All right. As always, thanks for listening and enjoy this most ridiculous but also encouraging episode. Okay. Y'all have a great day. Okay. Angela and I both rolled up into this recording studio on the beloved campus of Union University in our pajamas.
Looking like trash.
We're recording this on a Saturday, and we've both had really tough, not like hard, just time-consuming, draining weeks. And both of us are like, wait, what?
Aren't you glad you're tuning in?
What? I know. What are we doing again today, y'all?
We're going to find our energy. Our caffeine's about to kick in, Fran. It's going to go. Here I go.
I know that I was like a teenager and wanted to sleep till noon. That's how I felt this morning.
I told you when we walked in, like, I feel like I've just hit a wall. I feel like my old lady age is kicking in, but
and the sad thing is like, it's not early in the morning.
No.
But we're kind of feeling it. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Welcome, everybody. Aren't you glad you're tuning into this positive, uplifting, encouraging conversation?
I know.
It's going to be.
It is going to be.
We have so many things to talk about.
I almost asked you this morning because I know that you told me, hey, this is where this could go really south, y'all. Because I know a couple of days ago you said, I want you to talk about X. And I have no memory right now of what that is.
It's going to be okay.
So we might get to that point, and I'm like, well, can we come back to that and let my brain get acclimated again to that subject matter? Because y'all know that I roll up in here and have no idea. Honestly, what we're going to talk about. Angela's got her planner over there with all the notes.
And I walked in with it and I was like, I don't know why I brought this specifically. Like, this is my everyday journal. And I was like, why did I bring this? But okay, so Kaylee used a phrase that I've never used before that I will right now.
Okay.
I met her, I don't know, a week ago, whenever it was. She had an interview at Belmont for OT school and she's been accepted.
I know.
Shout out Kaylee.
I know. That's absolutely incredible.
So we don't know where she'll go yet. She's still interviewing several places, but I loved that program so much. I told Fran, like, if she and I could hang out with the three women that did our interview / parent orientation, their concern about the relationships of the students was like, if Fran and Dr. Dub ran a doctoral OT program, that's how it would run.
FYI, Fran is not capable of doing that.
Oh, yes,
not a doctoral program.
Oh, yes,
but that relational piece is huge.
It was huge. So all that to say, Kaylee said in her interview, she said, I think I did great, but for one question, my brain buffered, and I got so tickled. She said, I buffered for a minute, and I had to sit there and say, that's a great question. Let me think about that just a second. And then she proceeded to rattle off the best answer, and she said I could see the lady's score sheet, and she had like ones on everything, but she got a 2 on that one. And I said, Kaylee, you know what? If your brain only buffered one time, bravo.
Yes.
So our brains are buffering today.
Yeah, they are. That's incredible. That's fantastic because, listen.
You can visualize that.
Have you ever done this in court before? I've done this recently, and I don't remember the context. I don't think we had leadership union for students. Is that what you're going to ask me about with Grant Edwards? I don't know.
Sure.
Well, anyway.
We will.
No. So you know how you're in the middle of talking about something and you literally lose your train of thought in the middle of it?
Isn't that great? That's wonderful. And then I'll think, have I had a stroke? Do I have dementia? Am I okay? Is this ever coming back?
And you have to literally, it's like you're digging yourself out of mud and sludge. You're like, okay, how do I recover from something like that? That's the most terrifying moment in the world to me.
It's horrific.
It is.
It's horrific. As two women who pride ourselves on our communication skills, that's
or just like, the fact that
happened? I just ate my words.
and you're like, you're in a professional moment.
Yes.
And you have to be like, do I stop and say, I'm sorry?
Excuse me, Judge. Can I have a minute? Can I just call a timeout?
Can I come to the bench and ask what the question was again? Because I forgot.
Can I have a read? Can I walk out and walk back in and start all over?
To me, and because usually there's somebody that you're trying to impress.
Oh, yes.
And then you just are like, don't blow it.
And
don't blow it.
Then you think even the people that we think are, unlikely to ever make a mistake. Surely that happens to everybody.
Oh, please tell me it does.
At some point.
Okay. Anyway.
Okay. So when this releases, it will be fall break for both of us.
Well, I'll be coming back.
You'll be coming back.
I will be coming back from. You'll be on fall break. I will be coming back.
So tell us real quick what you're doing.
Shocker.
Because we're going to want all the details when you get back.
I don't know. Are y'all? Because you're so sick of hearing about it.
You never have the same trip twice.
No. So I will have just gotten back from my annual trip to the Big Apple with my oldest son, Clay, and I'm so excited. Again, we don't have a plan. I was talking to Becca Holloway at work the other day, and she was telling me all this stuff like, oh, you need to go here. You need to do that. And I looked at her and I said, Becca, I need you to know we don't make restaurant plans. We literally just go and do whatever we feel like going and doing in that moment.
And that's part of the experience of a real vacation and a break, because all of our days are so structured.
I cannot be at point A knowing that in 30 minutes I have to stop what I'm doing so that I can get to point B because I have a reservation at point B.
It's too stressful.
It's so stressful for me. In those 4 days, I just want to walk around and eat and take a subway and see that and do that whenever I want to.
But that is the reason, because I know New York and Disney are not the same, but in a way they are, because I've never had the same trip twice.
Yeah.
The more you go, the more you're able. If it was your one-time bucket list trip,
that's right.
You would have all this pressure to cram in all the things.
That's right.
But the beauty of knowing, you know what, this is what I'll do, and I can always go back.
Right.
That sets you free
from
the expectations and the schedules and the structures, and you just enjoy it.
Well, and I'll say this, then let's move on, is that because we've been so many times, I know that I want to spend this trip, I want to spend more times in like neighborhoods to eat. I don't want to do like, near Bryant Park or near Times Square. Like give me a great Soho restaurant, or give me a restaurant in Chelsea, or give me a restaurant that's off the beaten path in these gorgeous, phenomenal neighborhoods. That's what I want to do.
And the fall colors. I wonder if the leaves are changing.
I don't know, but I've looked at the weather and y'all, like the high a couple of days is 65 and the low is like 45 or something.
Oh, that's perfect.
I cannot wait.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Anyway,
so
okay.
We have never taken our children to a Tennessee game. I've been to several and love it. My husband's just mediocre.
I'm shocked by that. I don't know why I would have thought.
Carl is just not. Carl and I have been together. The last time Carl was there, it was at Tuscaloosa when it went into like 4 overtimes and felt like the game that lasted 32 hours. And I had the man who does not love football with me. And he was like, if we ever get out of here, I'm never going to back.
Yeah. Well, here we are.
So we're taking Cole and Kaylee to the Florida game, which will already have happened when this airs. But something cool that we're doing, the UT athletic department has a shooting sports team.
Yeah.
And the head of that, his name is Cole, and he's a student. He's awesome. I've talked to him several times, but they were like, tell your Cole to bring his gun and go to the range with us. And
that's awesome.
He's beside himself.
Absolutely.
So that'll be fun. And then we're going into Pigeon Forge, and my goal is to try to find some way to get my hands on some people somewhere, be helpful in some kind of way for these storm victims. I don't know what that's going to look like. I've heard that there are a lot of people who work in that area because that's where they go to make money in tourism. So I'm hoping I can make a friend and help somebody.
I'm just glad, again, this will air after you've been there, but it'll be interesting to hear you explain what you see, because I'm also just like, I'm shocked sounds like a strong statement, but I guess I'm thankful that you can still go.
Right.
Because I would have thought, the images I remember seeing of Gatlinburg, which granted, most things that we're seeing right now as we record this are of North Carolina.
Right.
So I don't know what it looks like now, but.
We were told, now Kaylee had a reservation in Asheville.
Yeah.
And we will never be like those awful people on TikTok that are whining about not getting their refund. Y'all keep our money and God bless you. But I was told they're begging people to keep their plans, to keep those tourism dollars coming when you can't. Because I thought, is this disrespectful? Should we wait, stay away? But one thing, and y'all, I'm not a conspiracy theorist in any kind of way.
However, you're about to say something.
Well, I am going to say that there's something in the middle that I need to become. Like I'm the other side of, nothing's ever going to happen. It's okay that I go to the grocery every day and I'm not prepared for anything at all. So I'm a little more, I'm not those people panic buying toilet paper.
Oh, no.
Don't ever be those people.
Can we just pause for a second and say, what is it about that?
I don't know.
And paper towels. We were talking about this at work yesterday.
Why is that the thing?
Like, give me the chips and queso. Like, I don't understand.
I will panic about Oreos and Doritos, but you know.
Yes, like what is that? That is a reflex action coming out of COVID.
But in a snowstorm, though, it's not toilet paper. No, it's milk and bread. So what are they doing for?
I don't understand. I literally am like, you mean to tell me I had a grocery order today? Praise the Lord. I did not need toilet paper or paper towels. But when I go in my history of my favorite things and I see, oh no, you can't buy those things, I just am like, people, what are you doing? What are we doing here?
People are, yes. But I will say this, and I've not gotten them yet.
Yeah, let's get back on track here.
Let's get back to what I purchased. And then if y'all want to have this too, in case of emergency, we can all communicate. Okay. My fear is, what if I can't talk to you? Like, what if there's some kind of blackout? Like, you hear all these people that, like, my cell phone didn't work and I didn't have power and I was shut off from the outside world.
Yeah, now we'd all be, like, twitching in a corner.
That gives me anxiety. Yes. So I found, and these kept popping up, so I finally just ordered some. They're called Rapid
You
Radio.
didn't ask me for
I know, I did not ask you.
So y'all know she's on spending probation, and you didn't ask me about this.
This is forgiveness, not permission.
Okay.
But they're called Rapid Radios.
Listen, I feel like, okay, keep going.
They're like walkie-talkies. They work nationwide because I'm thinking Kaylee's in Birmingham. I don't know where Cole ever is. I got 4 of them because
are these $19.99 for a package of 4?
I don't remember what they cost, but there's no monthly fee. They weren't that cheap, but you can. It's kind of like the Nextel radio. Remember the phones that were back in the whatevers where you could talk outside of the cell service, because you hear about like Elon Musk opening up that Starlink or whatever for people. So anyway, several of our friends now have ordered Rapid Radios, and when they come in, I'm not tech at all, but I'm gonna figure out how we can all communicate if we have a crisis.
That's great. I need to, I'm going to let you walk down that road ahead of me and then come back and tell me what it's like.
So if you're listening and you have any experience with any of this, please tell me. And if you don't and you want me to be the guinea pig, that's what I'm doing.
I need you to be the guinea pig. I'm also like, I don't know. Y'all are not shocked by this because this is not my personality if you know me, but I'm not one that's creating a cabinet, an underground kitchen of supplies.
A bunker.
Thank you. I couldn't come up with that word, y'all. We know we're tired. Like, I'm not doing that. I don't know. I just don't live in that kind of mindset, that's not, like, I think what you've done is like smart, because that does make me nervous when you don't know where your people are. But I think about, when blah, blah, blah happens, are you going to be able to eat for a week?
When the zombie apocalypse.
No, I'm not, because I can tell y'all, when all your children leave the house, all of a sudden you don't have any food.
We never have enough of anything. I don't have a
I could have dog food. I got plenty of that.
Yeah, Chewy is faithful to deliver the dog food every month.
I got dog food and some treats, but
I'm just kidding. Maybe that's a good question to put out there for listeners. Like where do you fall in line of, I'm very prepared or I'm not at all prepared? And,
I'm not. Y'all know that.
Help me. So my favorite TikTok person to follow, her name is Doxy Lover, LVR. And I think that's the name of the dog. So I was like, what is this? It's a dog breed, I think. Is that right? She dances on TikTok, but while she's dancing.
All sounds very interesting.
I know.
Sorry, what?
While she's dancing.
Who's dancing? The person?
Yes, and she's from North Carolina.
Okay,
that's why this is relevant.
Okay.
Because one day I just didn't see her, and then everybody's like, oh my gosh, is she okay? And she is. She's okay. Her animals are okay. But she dances, and while she's dancing, she has headlines of the daily news.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually, I found it to be accurate. It's short. She's dancing to some fun song, so it's like
just
a
to get our
version
attention.
Of the news.
Yeah,
yes, because it's It's like if Vanilla Funk decided to flash some news headlines.
Right.
You're watching. So anyway, then it was like, oh my gosh, she's our person. Is she okay? Well, she just didn't have power for a while, so she was doing some real time updates. And this is a person that I feel like I'm best friends with, even though I'm not. But me and the 42,000 people that are like, we're praying for you. Are you okay? So she's fine. But what she did is say, look, if there's ever a blackout, if there's a tornado, an earthquake, a hurricane, whatever, I've learned that I was not prepared. And here's how I think you might learn from this too. And she had recommended some headlamps, like flashlights on a headband. There was something else, but I just thought, yeah. So here I am on Amazon thinking, Fran's just going to have to bless this. I'm not getting permission first. But I got some emergency things. And then y'all know I'm learning how to be more organized, but I thought I've got to get one central spot and keep it all together.
I'm lucky to have batteries.
Well,
I need to maybe do better in this. I don't know where I fall.
Had batteries.
I don't know where I fall in this because I don't know. I just think, but I need to do this first instead, and then that will get done. Never.
Well, maybe just when we're at the grocery,
at the grocery.
At the grocery.
What do you want me to get? Canned beans?
Get some beans and some batteries.
Beans and batteries, y'all, for your bunker. Beans, batteries.
Today is sponsored by the letter B.
Okay. I don't know how, I don't know where I do know where I land in all this. I just clearly need some work because I've got to think about it.
I'm either very faithful that God's just going to keep us safe, or I'm in total denial because I'm not prepared. But.
Well, I'm both of those things. I just think, well, if, anyway, I don't need to ramble on about this. Good grief.
Okay. The other thing that I would love the listeners to help me with, and you as well, is I'm seeing these ads and I've not bought it because I'm on probation for spending things until Fran says yes.
Let me also interrupt right here and say, don't buy the mums.
Do not. Oh
y'all,
my gosh.
Y'all saw that in our stories last week. If you see the fake mums,
avoid, delete,
do
block.
not. You have to buy 92 million of them.
And they're not even mums.
No.
The mums aren't mummy.
No, I don't know what that was.
That was a sad flower situation with a radioactive green stem.
Yeah. You have to buy so many of those.
I want my $2.98 back.
Yeah.
I spent all of $4 on some.
Don't do it, people. Don't do it. Okay, carry on.
Do it. Okay, so readers. I keep seeing these progressive readers, so you don't have to constantly put your glasses on and take your glasses off.
Can I get them from Amazon?
Yeah, probably. I'm sure. But I'm just curious if anybody has like a brand or a style or these are great. I don't know. Now that I can't just go buy things, I'm like having to research and be wise about this. So I noticed nothing says middle-aged like what I'm about to say, but can anybody relate to this? Like when you're in the shower and you can't read anything and you're using the conditioner instead of the shampoo?
Well, and you're like,
I can't see what it says.
That didn't lather up. So clearly that's the conditioner.
So then you've wasted all this hair product. And I saw on my old lady TikTok, take a Sharpie and write a really big S. I thought, I've reached a whole new level of terrible. I cannot see what I'm using.
First of all, the fact that I had never thought about that. This is brilliant.
So then Carl's like, why is there a Sharpie in the bathroom? Like, what are you doing?
I can't even. Oh my gosh, y'all, this is a mess. I can't even see.
Then I'm thinking about the times that I've been not in the shower, but at my vanity and tried to put something on my face that was not supposed to go there.
Like, what kind of cream is this?
This should not be burning right now.
Right. Oh, Lord, y'all.
So Angela needs some readers.
Listen. Or, yeah, I don't know. They're not going to change their design because everything is in teeny tiny print. I opened up somebody's Bible the other day on campus and I was like, I'm sorry, how do you read this?
Oh my gosh.
They're teeny tiny.
Craig Rochelle this morning on the Bible app was talking about how a Gideon Bible in college changed his whole life. And all I could think about was who actually can see the print?
Right.
Like, God bless the Gideons. I love what they do. But every Gideon Bible I got was so tiny.
Just so tiny. Well, okay, so
keep
just
giving out Bibles.
Yeah, but just get a Sharpie and label things correctly.
Take your shampoo bottle and put a really big S on it. It has changed my life.
Well, I did that recently, believe it or not. Not the Sharpie, but I put the conditioner first, and I was like, well, I think I'm just going to add my shampoo to it, and it felt like a 2-in-1 kind of concept. And then I rinsed and just started all over again. I thought, my hair, I'm sorry. I'm trying.
I know.
I'm trying.
This is me trying. Okay, so it's homecoming. Well, is it homecoming week this week at Union?
No, it's at the end of it.
It's after fall break. So when this airs, this will be a relevant thing to talk about. You get to be a big part of homecoming.
Yeah. In my new job, in this part, I mean, student life, y'all, if you think about college, like everything is student life. Everything, every organization, every event, everything falls under student life. So sometimes you're just kind of like, oh man, we're doing a lot. And we are. But yeah, Joe asked me, he said, or somehow we were talking about the things that need to get done. And I said, oh, I want to be in charge of putting together the interview committee that will interview the candidates that have been selected for homecoming. And then we narrow it down, like we're at 10, and we narrow it down to the actual court. And then the student body votes, of course. But that's so fun. So I got to see, like, before anybody, well, besides Trenton Holloway, like, here's our 10 nominees. And I was like, oh, God, this is so exciting. So anyway, yeah, put together the interview committee, and then for a week and a half, because we lose a couple of days with fall break, we have all of our interviews scheduled. We have the questions that we're going to ask them. Don't ask me what they are right now because I can't think right now what they are, but it's so fun. And it's like somebody in this group is going to be Mr. and Miss Union.
Do they have a talent portion?
No, but I did have to, Joe and I got, Miss Union, she gets a crown that, is passed down. And then she gets a crown that she can keep. And so we got to order the crown. And I was like, when it arrived, I put it on my head and I was like, I need y'all to know, I have never had a crown on my head like this.
Yeah.
No, it would be disrespectful. But it was just like, it was humorous to me.
I knew you tried it on.
Oh,
I was going to ask you, and I was like, of course you did. I've never had a crown on my head.
It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
That's so fun.
Yeah. So I have the crown, and then I have this medal type thing that the guy, Mr. Union, gets. So it's fun because I was never on homecoming court in high school. Like never got to be a part of this. So I don't know. Maybe that was why I was like, I want to do that. And I'm very passionate about who is representing Union in this way.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So,
and we're about to move on, but talk about the Buster Bowl for a second.
The Buster Bowl
that's so fun.
We don't have a football team here at Union, but we did way back in the day. And our beloved friend, Ted Cluck, he oversees the Buster Bowl. And
Ted is Mr. Football.
He is. He played football, loved football, still volunteer coaches football. So anyway, it's just coming together for the sake of fun, and we call it the Buster Bowl, and it's just fun. So it's part of our homecoming week.
Lots of fun things happening on campus. Okay, so I want to talk about last Sunday night because you spoke at FCA.
Oh, dang. This is what I got to talk about.
But we're not going to, it's not going to be like hard because brains are tired.
Oh, I do have notes on my phone.
We'll pull that up.
I will.
But also, I want to go ahead and mention this. After the first of the year, we're planning ahead.
Yeah.
But we'll have more details about this soon. But an absolute dream for you and I, because there is an event being planned where the First Lady, Susie Said So, Susie Oliver, and Whoa Susanna, and Fran and Angela have all been asked to be part of a women's event, and it is going to be so much fun. Like if you asked us, hey, who would be super fun to do something for women and talk about Jesus and encourage them? And also the theme is Hebrews. I mean, you hate to say you have a favorite book of the Bible because there's so many contenders, but that is one of our absolute favorite books. It's just so exciting that that's coming together.
Yeah.
And I can't wait. I've said that I don't know how many times to you this past week. It's going to be so fun.
It is. It's always very humbling when somebody says, hey, will you speak? Even speaking to Huddle, you know, it's just like, this is with great humility. To stand before anybody and encourage them in any way is just like, you just take a step back and appreciate the opportunity. So y'all know Angela and I love FCA, and Sydney Whitaker, when she was mapping out the lineup, so to speak, she asked if I could speak on this. And the huddle, the weekly huddle, they are working through disciplines, and I was going to have the week of God's Word, of being in God's Word. And I really kind of thought, y'all know how this goes. You really kind of think, well, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to teach. But I was really struggling with, and I kind of alluded to this. I said it quickly to them. It's like, it's really hard to come in and tell people what they already know. Like, we all know we should be in God's Word more. We should be studying more. Like, we know that. And so it just felt like I never felt settled in my spirit about telling them what they already know. And I'm telling you, it's really hard for people to understand this in regards to student athletes. Their time is so precious. They don't have extra time. They really don't. Their days are so full, and the academic requirements, all the things that are demanded of them. I know that we all have time. I get it. I'm just saying that between the ages of 18 to 22, if you're a student athlete in college, it's even that much harder.
That's what impressed me the most, I think, when I got there, to realize, like, it was a packed room on a Sunday night.
Yeah, for real.
Of student athletes who are full-time students, full-time athletes, trying to do everything the best they can. They all need to study. They all need to do, they have so many demands on them. They've been to church that morning, and they are choosing to come gather together.
Yeah.
To seek after Jesus.
Well, and I told them, I've said this before in different places, in different ways. I believe here at Union, and I really believe anywhere, we're seeing it in some state schools, but I do believe that because of the way that as a society we view athletes and athletics and teams and sports and even coaches, like we idolize them it could be in an unhealthy way. Like they get all of our time. They get not all of, but they get unusual amounts, elevated amounts of time and attention. And we just put people on this pedestal. We all do it. For me, it may not be an athlete, but it could be somebody else that I'm just, super fascinated by, intrigued with. Obsessed can sound like a really strong extreme, but that's just what we do with athletes.
Get starstruck.
Yeah, you and with athletes and all their endorsements, and you're just like, oh my gosh. And so I've been in the last year, and our athletic director Mark Campbell and I both just believe this, that even here at Union, a Christian university, I believe our athletes are the ones that the Lord wants to use to to, I don't want to say change the trajectory of where we're headed. That sounds extreme, but to really make a significant impact in the athletic world here, as well as the university, the student body, because it's often just like thought, well, they're just here to play a sport. And that could very well be the case. But I do believe that athletes are they're not suspect.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't think that it's going to be them. We've seen it in Ohio State football in the last few weeks of just this, people are being saved, people are being baptized. These big, burly athlete guys are using their voices to talk about the relationship with the Lord. And so it doesn't matter at what level you're talking about it. I just believe that because of FCA and because of what I just have seen the Lord stir up among our athletic community, He really wants to use them. So I challenged them in that. But how does that happen? Well, it's going to start with, we have to understand our own sin. We have to understand what are we doing to acknowledge our sin? Are we aware of our sin? Are we confessing that sin? Are we in community with people that we can have those honest conversations about sin? And in that, because of that accountability, we're not afraid to be vulnerable, to be authentic as we pursue the Lord, and really giving Him space within our hearts and our minds to unleash whatever it is He wants to unleash. Because sin is what's going to hold us back with anything. And so anyway, it was a much, I'm like, well, that had, the only thing that really I said that had to do with being in God's word was, you have to know Him in order to go wherever you're going to go with Him. And if you don't know Him through His word, then all of this just becomes, well, I did that and I did that and I did that. And it becomes like a legalistic checklist of things to do. But in order to be transformed, and that's what we're after, then you're going to have to be in His word. But anyway, I was like, sorry, Sydney, this is not going in the direction you thought it was. But I just believe that that's where we got to start.
I want you to share real quick 2 stories. I want you to share about the response after you spoke and what those students experienced within the power of just being in a group of 2 or 3. And then also what happened a few weeks ago when some of them stayed after, because God is moving on this campus in the coolest way.
Well, it started a few weeks ago, one of our very early huddles. And by the way, these students at that time were meeting at 8:30 p.m. So it's over at 9:30, 9:45. And there were 5, 6, 7 student athletes that just wanted to stay and worship and pray. And so they sang, there was music, because some of them, are playing the guitar, they're, playing whatever instrument. And so they worshiped and they prayed for almost 2 hours.
Wow.
And that
beginning at 8:30 p.m.
Well, beginning at 9:45, 10 o'clock.
Yes, and then stayed for 2 hours.
And these are athletes that probably have to get up at the crack of dawn, and they have workouts that morning, potentially at 6. Like it's just, again, they are open to being used. They're not afraid of being used. And they leaned into what they feel like the Lord is stirring within them when everything is going against them. I'm tired. I don't have time. I've got to be here. That's all of us. But the fact that they did that, I was just like, oh man, the Lord is on the move. And so we've seen this occurring in how they're breaking down walls just among team to team, that there's friendships being established. A couple of the females have become friends as a result of, and they are having a weekly Bible study for our female athletes.
On Mondays.
On Monday mornings.
They are building in all the time.
Yeah. It's like, I know. It's absolutely incredible to me. And so we're just seeing the Lord very slowly, very carefully, thoughtfully. It's not this massive rush of a movement. It doesn't feel that way because that's the way it has always been with the Lord. And the beginnings of FCA, it's been just very gentle almost, and then strong when it needs to be while still being gentle. That is how the Lord is. That's the character that we're seeing of him in this movement. And so I felt like we were just at a point of, okay, we're a whole year into this. We're still such a baby organization, but we're a year into this. Okay, I feel like it's time for a little push. And I knew that that's what the Lord was asking of me. And so as a result of that, immediately I had both of these people actually that I'm going to talk about are on our lead team, our FCA lead team, 2 different sports. One's a male, one's a female. And they're asking me, the guy wanted all of my notes. So I just sent him the entire Word document.
For a male, not to be sexist, but for a male college student.
Yeah.
To follow up with you and say, Miss Fran, can I please have every one of your notes from the other night?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at what God is doing.
Look what he's just slowly pricking and, examining hearts and causing them to reflect on their identity, not as an athlete, but as a follower of Christ. And that's a whole nother subject for another day because their identity is so wrapped up in who they are. And that goes back to just our fascination with athletes, is because we're looking at them in that way instead of as a believer, if they are. And then another one, she texted me and just said, you would not believe the conversations that we had after the message, because they break into small groups and they just literally number off. You're not sitting with people that you know who you're going to sit with. There's wide representation of male and female that make up that small group.
And every sports team was represented.
That's right. Every sports team was represented. So she just said it was powerful, honest conversations about the sin that they are dealing with in their life. And so now I sit here today, X time later, and we do have we're going to have a meeting this weekend, just a leadership meeting about, okay, like, what do you do with that? Mm-hmm. Like, how do we keep navigating confession and awareness of sin so that the Lord can use you in these mighty ways within your own life, within your team, within athletics here at the university, but ultimately the student body as a whole.
Oh, it's so good. Do you remember any of the questions that you asked them to discuss?
I can pull it up on my phone. And these are just, these are simple. This is not anything that is earth-shattering by any means, but let me get out my handy dandy readers, everyone. So, this was just a list, and this is good for all of us, but this was in the context of an athlete. But you could think about it within your family. You could think about it within your workplace. I asked them, who do you want to become as an individual pursuing Christ? Who do you want to be known as a teammate following Christ? What do you want to see happen here at Union as an athlete? What do you want to see happen within Union athletics as a whole? What do you want to see happen on your team? How do you want God to use you? What do you want the reputation of your team to be known as? And what is keeping you from doing this personally or as a team or within athletics? Why are we not doing these things? And so there's nothing earth-shattering there. It was just like, well, okay, what are we doing and why are we not doing it? But that's a question for all of us to be answering.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that on the heels of that, in the daily Bible app, the daily verses, this week, Matthew 5:8 came up, and it's, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And I was thinking about confession and keeping a pure, clean heart. And one of the things they said that stuck with me is being pure of heart is not about being perfect. It's about trusting Jesus to purify my soul.
Yeah.
And it's just so good. So good. And just seeing confession not as, oh my goodness, here's all the things I have to tell you that I've done wrong and sit in the shame of all that.
Right.
This is getting in the way of me being in that fullness and that abundance. I want to get rid of anything coming between me and the Lord and nestle up next to him.
Yeah. And you want to have, what's with anything, I want to have a pure heart. I want my motive to be pure in anything that I'm doing. And the best way to live out every single day is to let the Lord into your mind, into your heart, to confess the sin that is there. And then throughout the day, as He is leading us and guiding us, and we have an awareness of Him, are we aware enough to go, oh, hang on a minute, Lord, I'm so sorry for, forgive me for what I said. I understand I'm having a bad attitude there. I understand what you're trying to teach me here, and I'm not letting you do that. We've got to grow up into that. And sometimes it just takes somebody saying, hang on a minute. What are we doing? Because again, you don't have to be an athlete, but just, in our work world, we get real arrogant in that I know what I'm doing here and all is well, Lord. But anyway, it was great. It was great.
So good.
Yeah.
So
okay.
good.
Well, that was our spiritual segment. And,
and we've had ridiculous, because I still have tears on my face where I cried a minute ago over how ridiculous
get your Sharpie out. Get your Sharpie out and go label all the things you need to be labeled.
Everybody in your 40s or older, go label your hair products. Gosh. Bless us all.
Bless it all. But we're so glad that you listened. Y'all have a fantastic day. We'll see you next time.